It was good. It was good. Thank you.
You got him good with the clubbing hand after you just took a big shot from him. Did you feel you had to get the punch back, or was it just you saw an opening?
I knew that he would close the distance. Clay's got a very particular style. He uses two different, but everybody knows him for that pressure, that movement. Just outpacing guys. And then he's got that little bit where he kind of sits back and like he was doing today, and throws some of those bigger shots. And I knew that once he landed that and wobbled me, that he would come in. So I tried to meet him with the shot as he came in, and was able to connect. And he does leave his neck open a little bit when he shoots. So once I hit him, it was right there and wrapped it up.
And thoughts on Herb's stoppage? Did you feel it? Did he tap? It certainly didn't look it from our.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell. I knew that he was hurt from the punch, and I felt his hand move a little bit, but it didn't really feel like a tap to me. So, I knew the choke was on, and if the guillotine wasn't there, my left leg was over top of his shoulder, so I was going to get the triangle. So I was just kind of anticipating his head popping out, and if it did, then I was going to transition. But yeah, I thought it was a good stoppage on Herb's part.
We spoke on Wednesday, and you were telling me how you didn't enjoy the wars, although you get into them all the time. Safe to say it's a perfect night for you?
Almost, except for that big right hand. Yeah, there's always one. There's always one. I was prepared for a 15-minute battle. Coming into this in great shape, and I've been in plenty of them, but I fight to do that. I train to do that. I sacrifice time away from my family so that I can do that, so that I can get a call in 6 weeks and fight again. Because those long, drawn-out 15-minute wars, they take a little bit of time to recover from, and they take some fights off your career, in my opinion. So, yeah, to go in there and do what I know I can do, it felt great.
Clay Guida, Hall of Famer, tough guy to submit. You were able to, get the submission. Where would you rank this finish in this moment in your career?
This is pretty high. It's the one over Camoes is still pretty high, and I think this one's right there, and it might overtake it, being that it's in Jersey. I've had a pretty crummy streak in Jersey. And nothing to do with the fans or anything like that. Just opponents and stupid things happen to me as well, and that's just the way that it goes. But it was good to kind of get back on track and get another first round finish as well.
And you mentioned how you're just taking fight by fight, and kind of you don't have like long-term goals. But does a performance like this kind of change your mind and say, hey, maybe I do have a long time left in this sport?
I think I do. And when I say fight by fight, I don't mean that I'm like right there. I'm trying to prepare myself as a provider for my family for that next step, and that's kind of one of the biggest things. But if I can feel healthy and perform like that, my last 3 wins have come in the first round. In just over 2 minutes. So I know what I can do. It's just a matter of doing it on fight night.
What's next for you? Any event you have in mind that you'd like to return at, or any opponent you'd like to face?
No opponent in particular. I've never been the type to pick opponents, and I know that that's like, you need to guide your career and all that stuff. And you guys in the media, you do like to give fighters crap for not picking opponents, but that's not my thing. I'd like to be working my way back up to the top of this division, and I'd like to fight guys. Like, I was really excited to fight Clay. I mean, this is a guy that I've got a ton of respect for, and it was fun preparing for it. It was fun having him in my mind, and envisioning his face on the pads as I'm hitting him. But yeah, we'll see, and if Sean needs me to fill in soon, I'll fill in soon. The only thing is he can't get me during elk season.
Last thing for me, this is your first win at home, right?
No.
No?
No. But it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
been a little bit.
You broke the New Jersey curse.
Yeah, there was. I'm not superstitious, but there was a little bit of a curse, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Does that feel a little bit extra special? You know.
Like yeah, it's good. It's good to get the win, you know, here in front of my fans, and
Jim, it's Donald Cerrone, Damian Maia, George St. Pierre, Michael Bisping, and now you, the only fighters in UFC history with 20 wins. What does that mean to you?
that's a hell of a group to be compared to. You know, I'm not the type to obsess about some of these little records and stuff like that I've got, but that's a really cool one. You know, the weight of it, just hearing their names is pretty awesome to be associated with that group of guys.
Jim, Mickey Gall had talked about training with you and looking up to you. Were you able to watch his fight tonight? And if you did, what did you think of his performance?
It was I missed the first round because we were just coming down and stuff like that, but I was able to get it, you know, on my phone. And you know, he went and he fought a tough fight against a tough opponent, and was able to keep attacking throughout the fight and win a tough decision. You know, he did great. I mean, that kid's he got thrown to the wolves. You know, like your second fight, you're walking out into that is pretty ridiculous to think about. You know, but at the same time, that's a kid that, as a teenager, was coming to sparring days with us, and I mean, mixing it up. That was when we had a group of, you know, 6 or 7 guys fighting in the UFC, and he's right in the mix and you know, and training with everybody. So he's got the experience when it comes to the training aspect. It's those little things. It's hearing the roar of the crowd that you still. I mean, I was in the back getting goosebumps, and you know, like just. It's hard not to let your emotions and your adrenaline just take over sometimes, and it's kind of a learned skill to keep it down and to kind of push those back. So yeah, for him to be here and competing is awesome. It's amazing.
How good of a feeling is it to put together your 3-1 now in your last 4? I think after that 4-fight slump, how good of a feeling is that to kind of prove doubters wrong?
It's great. It's, you know, I mean. I've never really concerned myself with the doubters, you know. It's for me, it's going out and proving it to myself, really, you know. And yeah, it's a great feeling to go out and perform the way that I know I can.
I know you said you're not one to call out names, but you seem to have a lot of fun with Guida, who's another legend. Is that something that would interest you? Another guy of that stature moving forward?
It would definitely interest me, you know, like. Hearing the names that I recognize, that I have seen fight and have been fans of, it's awesome. You know, it's awesome to you know, be with them in the build-up and you know, step into the octagon with them. You know, what I need to do is I need to start going up to 70s and 85s so I can find more of those guys that I've always wanted to fight. You know, but yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me who is across the cage when they close the door behind me. But yeah, it's fun to have that potential for that really exciting fight, and like, you know, that it's a lot higher probability with a guy like Clay.
Did you guys say anything to each other after the fight?
Yeah, dude. I mean, Clay's awesome. He's awesome. He actually gave me one of his shirts. You know, he's starting up that fishing thing with Chad Mendez, and gave me one of the first run of his shirts. So yeah, you know, he's a like I said, he's a guy that I got a ton of respect for. He's been in it. He's fought a who's who. I mean, how can you not like the guy?
You know, they're calling you the Benjamin Button of MMA. How do you talk about the clock? You look 29 up there.
I don't know. Maybe the Lyme disease turned into like a symbiont or something like that, right? Like a venom. Yeah, you know, it's definitely coming with its bad sides of it, but you grow your hair out a little bit and everybody freaks out, you know. But yeah, it was a struggle for a couple years there. You know, it really was, and it wasn't easy. And without the support of my wife and my family and my team, I wouldn't have gotten through it. And you know, even after my diagnosis and coming back in 2016 and having a great, you know, tail end of the year, second half of that year, I still came back and got my ass kicked by the Lyme, you know, at the end of the year and into 2017, and dealt with some bogus stuff that you know, nobody wants to deal with. And you know, it was just it was tough, you know. And then
That's going to be a lifelong struggle for you?
it very well may be. You know, the problem with it, the disease, is that we don't really know too much about it, and it affects everybody differently. And you know, I was in rough shape, but I've met people that I mean, completely changed their lives, and it's ridiculous that, you know, there's not as much research on it, and development of either tests or vaccines or, you know, a cure for it. But yeah, I think one of the biggest things is the fact that, one, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you just have to fight back. You have to. And you know, there were plenty of days where I did not feel like getting out of bed, but it's like, hey, I'm fighting in 4 weeks. You know, you got to get up and do something, Jim. And you know, I struggled through camps and trained in a way that wasn't to my strengths, just to get through it. But you know, putting up with that little bit of a grind, and continually trying to, you know, be healthy, not only to combat the disease, but to be a better athlete, and just doing a little bit of exercise as well. And you know, like when it comes to the medication and all the supplements and stuff that I was taking, I don't know how much of that helped. You know, I think some of them, obviously the doxycycline helped, but you know, I did some mushroom therapy, maybe that helped. I you know, changed my diet to anti-inflammatory diet for the most part, and you know, I still have a beer here and there, but you know, like try to cut down on dairy and gluten and all that stuff. But yeah, just fighting it every day, I think, is kind of what helped me get to where I am, and it might come back, and that's one of the things why I say, you know, I'm taking it fight by fight, because if it does, it might be hard to stay the course and to continue through it, because I know what it can lead to, and you know, it's been a long road, but I'm not at the destination yet. You know, I still got plenty of road to travel.
And are you happy to be able to be in New Jersey to celebrate tonight? Mickey was in here earlier. He kind of invited everybody to come party.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the cool things is that usually in Jersey and on the East Coast, you fight later on the card, and it's, you know, we're standing here at 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, and now we get to go hang out a little bit and actually you know, eat something. So it's fun to be able to, you know, then go and have an after party, something like that, and do it with the fans, and you know, my Jersey fans, you know, my people.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.